All right, guys, we are back at it, and we're going to get into the story here. So we got the wonderful, brave hero, Greta Thunberg. Shout out to her, man. She's been doing a lot for the Palestinian cause. She's really putting herself out there. And now she's sailing a flotilla, get this, right? A flotilla from Sicily all the way to Gaza to provide aid. Just a wonderful soul, And then there's these reports coming out, obviously, because we do know the diaper forces are very proficient in committing war crimes and are, maniacs. So, people are saying, okay, this could be dangerous. The first flotilla got blown up. She shouldn't be doing this, et cetera, et cetera. If you guys are betting on Israel following international law, I mean, you have a better chance of the Detroit Pistons winning the championship, right? So there's no way. So, I mean, hats off to her. Hopefully nothing happens. There was a sick monster that we're about to get into right now who should be jailed, who actually threatened her. So let's get into this video. Let's see what she's doing here. So shout out to her.
I am currently standing on the Madeleine, the ship that on Sunday, June 1st, will attempt to again sail towards Gaza and to try to break the siege and open up a humanitarian corridor by delivering aid like food and medical supplies. The last time we attempted this, about a month ago, the boat Conscience that we were about to board, just a couple of hours before we were planning to board and set sail, it got bombed twice. And all evidence suggests that it was Israel who did it.
Oh my god.
Big surprise.
So now we are here
Big
in
surprise.
Catania, outside of Sicily, to try to continue our mission to try again. Because currently we are watching a systematic starvation.
Yeah, shout out to her, man. Because the diaper forces are systematically starving 2.3 million people that have nothing to do with the conflict. So, I mean, this is, again, guys, this is the craziness that we're living in. So we have another sick individual who's should be jailed. I don't know why this guy's allowed in the Senate, guys. This guy takes money from everybody, from Saudi Arabia to Qatar to China to he's just taking money from all these people, and he's an avid neocon domestic terrorist, right? Lindsey Graham. This guy's running around, him and a few other people like Mark Levin, these people like begging Trump to bomb Iran and set off World War III. He's in, people are saying that he was in Ukraine before they attacked, they pretty much did a fucking Pearl Harbor on Russia, right? So who knows what Russia's response is going to be. Obviously, it's probably going to be the largest response to date. So this guy's been meddling with the whole Ukraine shit. He's trying to get everything popping off for the military industrial complex mafia, right? So they get their cheddar with all these wars. So he says, hope Greta and her friends can swim. Fucking piece of shit. Anyways, Steve Bannon, who, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, Steve Bannon, after he came out of jail, other than like him being a staunch supporter of 47, which is kind of corny now. He's been saying some, good shit here. So here's his response to Lindsey Graham, which I really liked. Let's get into it.
Then they got like 80 senators together on this. You say what he's doing is wrong and that it could be a jailable offense. How so?
Chris, we're being sucked into a kinetic third world war right now that's going to dwarf the 20th century's First and Second World War. And inexorably, we've been drawn in every day what the Ukrainians did. And what the White House has said is that they never got a heads up. They attacked part of the strategic triad of the Russians. This is something Curtis LeMay would never think of. They took out 41 of the 100, took out 40% of the strategic nuclear bombers of Russia. The attack was audacious. It was bold. It was courageous. It's all that. But you can't have a country that we're sponsoring with the types of money that we're giving and cutting an economic deal and now saying we're going to be involved in their development. That they think that they can go in and really attack into Russian territory and drag us into a conflict with Russia that could metastasize. If they don't think that they have to come back to the United States and ask permission, or the deep state at a Wiesbaden, which the New York Times reported, is the German and American intelligence community are running this war. One of two things, we got to get to the bottom of this truth, that we are being sucked into a conflict with the Chinese Communist Party and with Russia that we're not going to be able to turn around. And tonight in Korea, or today in Korea, right now, they're voting, and it looks like we could lose South Korea to a Chinese Communist Party-backed party in Korea. People are not awake of what is happening throughout the world and how we're being sucked in, and supposedly by somebody we support like Zelensky, to know that he never gave the White House a heads up. He never asked permission to do this. He would do really a brilliant but a deep strike into part of their nuclear, essentially taking out our B-52s, which these old Russian planes are. It's outrageous. And Lindsey Graham all weekends over there stirring the pot. We can't have people over there telling the Ukrainians that we're going to back more. What we're trying to do is calm this down. What President Trump is trying to say is, look, let's get to a ceasefire. Let's put our weapons down. Let's talk peace and prosperity. We don't support the economic deal, but President Trump is saying he needs it as a central part of a peace plan. But we can't have Lindsey Graham, and particularly Zelensky, leading us into a third world war with a deep strike into Russia. And Putin came back today and said, hey, we're going to get to the bottom of this, and we're going to see who's accountable in Ukraine and beyond. And that was a message to the United States.
But, Steve, first of all, the president was just calling Putin a madman a couple of days ago, said he doesn't know what...
All right, and the rest is obviously Cuomo trying to say, like, oh, Russia's bad, Putin's bad, Putin's, he's the one starting all this and that, But, let's just keep it real, man. Like, these guys aren't going to stop until they get what they want, even if they have to, And if you guys think they don't have some type of dirt and blackmail on Trump and everybody, in order to get him to act on their behalf, you'd be surprised, guys. Like, they got agents all over constantly talking about going to war, like, regardless of the implications, right? Regardless of it being probably like one of the worst decisions America could possibly make, right? Just like Steve Bannon was saying, like, there's a situation going on. There's a situation going on in South Korea now where China's like meddling into their affairs. They're doing like a mini APEC in South Korea that's pro-Chinese. So they're about to kick out like the Western-backed government, the democratic government of South Korea. They're about to just get rid of that shit, and then they're going to have like a fucking Chinese like prox, kind of like how we have like presidents that work for the interests of other nations. You know what I'm talking about. They're gonna do the same thing in South Korea, which is supposed to happen soon, right? So that's another L, right? Because South Korea is a huge ally. But but that's dude, Lindsey Graham. Holy, that dude belongs in fucking jail, man.